Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Hesed Sabbath Fellowship. Thank you for joining us. We are based out of St. Paul. We're virtual only. We closed the building 4 years ago. We do the thought behind the thought, the philosophy of eschatology, the end of days, what you need to know, your reality, our existence. We solve a little piece of revelation, and what we're solving today is the signs, because people are saying it's a signless coming. Well, no, it's not. We are seeing the signs, and they seem to make sense biblically. And at the rapture, well, we believe the rapture is at the end, not at the beginning. So they believe in it. I'll explain it in a minute. There are signs. No, they're wrong. And so this is the slide that I made up. It's the meme, of course, and it talks about the fact that you're seeing these signs, and everybody is. And so the signs are the solar CMEs and flares and sunspots and things like that, which are producing auroras. You know the correlation there, but that's also forcing storms, thunderstorms, horrible, and it will force a polar shift. And so it will, yeah, our magnetic poles are going to move dramatically. So basically, you're a discerning person with eyes, and you're seeing these things, and your friends from the pre-trib camp are saying it's a signless pre-trib rapture. So you're not seeing anything at all, and they need to poo-poo everything that they're doing. So what are we looking at here? We're going to be looking at Angora sweaters today because it's scientific. It's in the Bible. So we try to give you the Bible, we try to give you the prophecy from John in this case with Revelation 6, and we try to give you the news in terms of, yeah, this Angora sweater plays into the end of days. Now, this is Mark Hitchcock. He's a brilliant man. Tommy Ice is also, he's a PhD. The problem is they're telling you there are no observable warning signs amidst all of the signs going on with the polar shift, with all the auroras, with the solar activity, all the things going on. They're saying, nothing to look at, move along, nothing here at all. NASA is telling us about these things. So the bottom line is the doctrine of imminence implies the possibility of any moment, signless coming by Christ at the rapture. They're wrong. And it's biblically being proven wrong every day as you see more signs. So this is Hugh Ross, and he's a brilliant man. I mean, he's an astrophysicist, so he obviously understands this, but he's paid by the Rapture people. And Glenn Beck wants access to that cash from the Rapture people. He needs listeners with cash, okay? So he's asking Hugh Ross, Dr. Ross, will the poles flip? And so here's what Hugh said. Some are now warning, well, this is Glenn Beck's side. Some are now warning that the Earth's magnetic poles are about to flip, something that happens every so often, but there is something different about this. But is there something different about this pole reversal? And is it a cause for concern? Glenn speaks with astrophysicist Hugh Ross, who clears up a few things about how dangerous this would be, and when it would really happen. Plus, he discusses whether a massive solar flare would knock out most of the world's power grids, like a massive EMP, and why he believes we're seeing more northern light displays throughout the year. Okay, so Hugh Ross makes his money off the rapture. That's who pays for him to publish his books. He was on with John Ankerberg, which is another smart fellow that believes in the rapture. But, come on. They throw out PhDs pretty easily in the religious side. Now, Hugh has a true PhD in science, but still, he's paid by the rapture people. So what's he going to talk about? The rapture, okay? So Glenn asks him, so even if the sun is very active, it doesn't affect our temperatures or anything. And Hugh answered, it has no effect. What's happening here at Earth is what you have to watch, not what's going on with the sun. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie based on the rapture and this imminence theory that they have. And so we've had a Carrington event in 1859. We'll have it again. And there will be some kill shots coming. There will be two of them, and I'll discuss those. They're biblical, and they're also scientific. Okay, so I'm telling you that Hugh is anti-sign because that's how he gets paid, and anti-science because he wants to prove and keep his pre-trib rapture going because that's more important than the science or the signs, more important than your observable scientific research. Okay, now you can call me a tin hat crazy person, and this is from David on the left-hand side there, that we're wearing these tinfoil hats, and we're conspiracy theorists. No, we're just looking, we're discerning. We're looking at the signs, and we don't believe in the pre-trib rapture dogma. We don't. And so it's my conspiracy as the Yeshua will return in our lifetimes, and we will see signs before that. This is logical. It's biblical. Okay, so thanks, David, for creating that. And so every aurora shock weakens the magnetosphere. Yes, the sun is causing our magnetosphere to thin. We're not exactly sure why, but it is occurring. So you'll see more northern lights. Thank you, Axios Seattle. That it could be a stunning year in 2024 for all these northern lights. We had 5 or 6 batches of low-level auroras last year, but 2024 could be a record for solar storms, X1 to X3 eruptions, which are bigger. We had a couple of 5.8s, and I think we had an 8 the other day, but they went the other direction. So it has to be facing our direction. Well, here it is. An 8.8 missed the Earth, and a 5.4 barely clipped the Earth. So thank you, Ben Davidson, for reporting that. As magnetosphere weakens, the faster upper level winds. Okay, so you're going to notice these storms. They're going to start up above and then they're going to hit us down below. Increased pressure differentials, neurodynamic or electrodynamic cloud microphysics. Okay, so you're just going to notice the surge in and then the surge out again, too, as the energy comes in and it manifests, people. So once again, this is from Ben Davidson. This is an old slide from 2019, but I like the slide because it shows the pressure coming in, being forced in. Okay. So once again, from Ben Davidson, nothing happened during the solar storm, and that was that Friday night just over a week ago. And just as 300 plus network failures, 28 times the average localized infrastructure disruptions, record aurora, and this down below from the New York Times. Solar storm crashes GPS systems used by some farmers stalling planting. Okay, that's May 13th. So we had that storm, I think it was on May 11th. So there you go. So something happened. It's just that you have to be in the know to find out what's going on. And I have an IT buddy, and he hasn't talked to me in 2 weeks. I'm sure it's not going well with him in terms of his cloud support and things like that. So surprised astronomers find new type of star explosion, a micronova. This is from 2022. You have to keep this in mind the whole way through, that the micronova is proven. This is Reuters report on this, and so it's an artist's conception of it. But basically, that sun, that star out there in this particular picture, would go from yellow to white to red to black, and it micronovas. Now, there could be severe micronovas or minor ones, and so we'll deal with both of those types today. And the other thing that's affecting us is this current sheet issue, where basically dust is coming in and it's collecting on planets, and it's going to collect on our star at some point in time and force it. So it's basically like a dust magnet accumulating dust, and so it's galactic electrostatic absorption. And it's just physics, okay? So that's going to occur, and it's the first time it's going to be a mohair, an angora type of an explosion, and then the second one's going to be more like the kill shot, okay? And they're about 7 years apart, 6.5. Well, 6. We'll fudge it, okay? So the current sheet is dust coming in, and it seems to be hitting the outer planets. It'll probably hit Jupiter before it hits us, because Jupiter protects us from meteorites, okay? And so global magnetic effects, electrodynamic changes, that is that Swiffer effect, okay? It's just like you're dusting. It's electromagnetic with the Swiffer duster, okay? And then dust, gas, and plasma. So that is what's coming at us, and the sun is a dust magnet, accumulating dust. Now, at solar maximum, it doesn't accumulate as well. That's what we're in right now. But at some point in time, we'll have a solar minimum, and the dust will collect even more, and that's when the big one hits. Okay, so we have the polarity issues, and we know we're going into maximum around 2025, and so it happens about every 11 years, okay? But during solar maximum, dust won't cling to the sun well, so we'll experience a minor micronova, as I describe it, a mohair, an angora micronova, described in Revelation 6:12 through 17, and I'll read it to you. During this phase, it could coincide with our upcoming blood moon eclipses, and I'll show you those on a chart, okay? Revelation 16 is the large micronova. It's a full one, and it can only occur during a solar minimum. That could be about 6-ish years later. Okay, so let's go through the verses and show you the mohair micronova. And so it has to sync, so the blood moon eclipse will sync with the micronova. Then I watched as he broke the sixth seal, and there was a great earthquake. That's part of the process. So that is the micronova, and what's doing right now, it's unlocking the crust. And I'll show you the slides, about 10 slides here, where you'll see that the crust is starting to unlock. It's a slower process. I'll walk you through it. Don't worry. The mantle will break free. The sun will turn black. That's the final stage of micronova, as sackcloth. And the words there are sakos, which is sackcloth, trichinos, and that would be the mohair. It's layered like goat's shiny mohair, angora. Worn in mourning, okay, so you're depressed because you'll be depressed when it hits. And the full moon became blood red. That the next one is Adar 14, which is March 14th of 2025. The stars fell to the earth. Okay, so when the stars are falling, in this case, they're dust fragments. So it's a dust accumulation event, and it's throwing off the dust, and you'll see it, and it will look like meteorites, but it'll be very, very small, and they won't hurt you, okay? Just as a fig tree drops its bitter winter, that's the timing, figs, when shaken by a strong wind. So once again, that's Revelation 6, 12 through 13, and the sun, of course, will go from yellow to white to red to black. And people are correcting me and saying it's already gone from yellow to white, and it has. I will state that openly. It has gone. I'm old enough to remember when the sun was more yellow, and it's going white. Okay, so this is the cool chart that I built for you so that you can see what's going on. Remember, the micronova in the center here of the sun has to coincide with one of these events. Okay, so you can just pretty much look at the next 9 events. You've got 3/14 of 2025. You've got 9/7 of 25. Then of 2026, you will have 3/3, so March 3rd. Okay, then 12/31 of 2028 and 6/26 of 2029, and then we move into the 4. So it's a tetrad of 4/26/32, 10/19 of 32, 4/15 of 33, and 8/8 of 33. If it syncs, if any of one of those syncs with the micronova, you're in the 6th seal. So just keep that in mind. I don't know which one. I feel the most logical thing is that the gap between 25 to 32 seems to make sense based on the Essene calendar of 2025 being the Jubilee year. But I don't know. We'll wait and see. So once again, Angora, they're a lovely little goat from Turkey. The Greek language knows about that because they're right next door to each other. It's a fluffy, pretty sweater, and that's what's going to cause the micronova. So Angora shines like diamonds and grows like weeds. Okay, it's very interesting, and we've had it for thousands of years. So John would have been aware of it. So choose your destroyer. John did, and it's not the stay-puffed marshmallow man from Ghostbusters. It's a goat. It's a micronova of Angora type. Okay, so it's fluffy and light. And so here it is in the text. So we'll just read through it. And he opened the seal, the 6th, and the earthquake was great. And there was the sun became black as sakos. You see it in the text there. And then trichinos, which is the hair, but it's mohair. And you can see the explanation says that is made of hair, mohair. Okay, so it is a fluffier goat-like eclipse. Okay, mohair-like, and the moon became a whole, olo, holo, in this case, it adds that marking, became like hema, like blood. Okay, so those two things have to coincide, and then the stars from heaven fall and things like that. So then the sky receded like a little scroll. It's a Megillah. It's a smaller one than the big scroll. It's not going to be worldwide. Right now we have a hole in our magnetosphere that is called the South Atlantic Anomaly. And so that is like a little Megillah rolling up right now, okay? And so little sections are going to open up across the world. And so just get expecting it. This is part of being in the end times. So it's going to be rolled up. Every mountain and island was moved, not very far, from its place. Then the earth's kings, rulers, and generals, and the rich and the mighty, indeed, everyone, slave and free, hid themselves in caves because the energy is coming down to the earth and it's going to blast your fillings out of your head. I mean, it'll just melt them out of your head. So you have to go underground to protect yourself. You need to ground yourself in an earth type of a dwelling. And so everybody's going to go, everyone, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks in the mountains. When this occurs, everyone will know about it. Revelation 6:14 through 15. They're aware of it. They're already, this is from the Economics magazine. They're already talking about the eclipses and how it matters to them, and they know that that's going to change World War III because they're going to be on that trajectory towards World War III, but then they'll have to cease because we're going to have a Stone Age problem right after the first one. Even though with the mohair, it's going to be significant, okay? And said to the mountains and rocks, they're bunkers, fall on us and hide us from the face of the one sitting on the throne, and from the fury, that's orge in the Greek, of the Lamb. This is proof that the rich and the poor will be aware of the sixth seal. For the great day of their fury, that's orge again, has come, and who can stand? So don't get concerned about the wrath of the Lamb or of God for that matter, because he doesn't hate you if you're a believer. He hates the wicked and the people that are causing so many problems in the world today. So he's going to push back that World War III at that point in time because they're pushing it. And so the billionaire bunkers, this is not a safe billionaire bunker. This is definitely not a safe place. The waters are going to surge. They're going to splash around. It's going to be horrific in a situation like this. So you spent $1 billion just to die. Okay? Billionaires are prepping luxury doomsday bunkers with moats that set on fire. Oh, isn't that kind and sweet? That actually is SEAL 3, where inflation hits and the wealthy won't help the poor at all. So, yeah, that works. Yeah, that's right. Okay, upcoming signs of impending micronova. So, once again, you'll see jet streams changing. You'll see extra penetration into the layers of our skin. You'll see the color of the sun change. You'll see auroras like you wouldn't believe. So once again, that's the things that are going to precede this micronova. This first one will be a mohair, a fluffy one, okay? And so kill shots, uh, as the magnetosphere thins, you will have more problems, and you'll just notice more energy leaking through our magnetosphere. And so you can have Hugh Ross and you can have Mark Hitchcock and other people saying nothing to look at here. Everything's fine. Look at the Earth. Don't look at the sun. The problem is they're wrong. The signs are there. It's biblical. Okay. And the intriguing thing is that the 2025 Jubilee year, if the Essenes are right, seems to be right as things break off and really drop off on our magnetosphere. Okay, because it seems to be hockey sticking. So once again, the signs: the sun burps out these CMEs, these solar flares. It has the positive and negative charges fighting against each other on the sun, and then it burps out whatever it is, energy, mass towards the Earth. So the light gets here right away in a couple of minutes, but the energy itself takes a few days. Normally, 18 hours at the minimum, 48 hours typically, 72 hours. When these big mass these ELE events come at us, like the mohair CME, that is going to be about 18 hours. So you'll have literally 18 hours to run underground. Okay, and then you'll see the auroras right after that. Then you'll see thunderstorms and other energy hit us, and it'll cause storms. Okay, Houston right now. And then you'll have the earthquakes about a week after that. So the thunderstorms are about a week after the auroras. The earthquakes are about a week after that. We're seeing the starts of it, the rumblies right now in California and over in Italy. Okay, then the anomalies are going to pop up and move around, and then the polar shift comes after that. Okay, and probably when you get to the just after the second micronova that is much larger. Okay, so what we're noticing is that even the scientists are agreeing now that there is more solar forcing occurring. And so this is from AGU, quantifying contributions of external forcing and internal variability to Arctic warming during 1900 to 2021. And so they're really seeing that something seems to be externally forcing, and then it's causing variability inside where we are in our atmosphere. Okay, so they're aware of it, okay? And once again, it's the Swiffer situation on the right-hand side. It's the dust, the unresolved mystery of dust particle swarms within the magnetosphere theory. Sorry, I don't pay for the Royal Society Publishing for their information, so I had to gray it out. But basically, that's the dust issue. That's the Swiffer issue. The unexplained expanding dust from galactic current sheet, okay? It's going to be affecting our planets, our Earth a little bit, some, and then, but it's going to affect our sun. So it's going to be like a Swiffer. So get ready for it, okay? Continuing on, we've got in Texas, so the storms. So as a result of the auroras and the solar forcing, we have windows being blown out during the Houston storm. It was that bad. It was 120-mile-per-hour winds. Okay, and so the windows literally blew out. And so this seems to be solar forced superstorms. It seems to be. Okay, it takes a little bit more study and research to figure that out for sure, but it seems like it. So this is from the EPA. So that was weather.com there on the left, EPA on the right hand side. And they're talking about how if you have the sun beating down on us, you will have increased UV. It should be blocked by the ozone layer, but because the ozone layer is thinning and probably down by 30%, you will have more sun damage, UV damage. You will have more energy coming through. You'll have the whole process. So get ready for that. Be aware that you may not want to be outside for long periods of time. Okay, so this is from Ben again from Suspicious Observers, and he's saying earthquakes and planet alignments. In addition to having the solar forcing, you're going to have planets seeming to align, like Jupiter and Venus. And 6 of 7 of the greatest earthquakes occurred with this particular alignment. So it's very interesting. And this is from the International Journal of Geosciences from 2022. Astronomical triggers as a cause of strong earthquakes. They know it's the truth. You don't get to hear that on your news at night, but you get to hear it from the scientists. So once again, these are the signs, and you can be a looky-loo. You can say, it's Officer Barbrady saying, "Move along, nothing to see here, you looky-loos." No, the signs are here, and you'll see more earthquakes. And I'll give you the slide in just a second, so you can see that Italy is having an earthquake swarm. California is having an earthquake swarm. This is from Earthmaster and the Watchers. And then this is the weirdest slide of all. This is from Honeybee. She's kind of an interesting creature, and she does TikToks. And she's saying sunflowers globally are now suddenly turning all their faces away from the sun. And that's because the sun is beating down on them, and it'll get worse. So sunflowers are turning away, and then animals seem to be hiding in the shade. And yeah, she's using a swear word, but anyway, they're citing after the eclipse that things went psycho after that. I don't know why, but it's a very interesting citation. So you can believe Hugh Ross and Mark Hitchcock and Jan Markell and all the people that claim the rapture and the doctrine of imminence, which are not biblical, or you can believe the Bible, which says there are many signs in the sun, the moon, the stars, and God warned us in Genesis 1:14 that the signs in the heaven would be for the seasons and the days and the years, but they would be important to you, okay? And then Joel 2:31, and the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon into blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord, okay? Or Matthew 24:29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Okay, so that's after. There is no pre-trib rapture, and these guys are lying to you. Okay, so the birth pangs. We're in the birth pangs right now. We believe we're in seal 4, but, for sure we're in seal 3, inflation. There are 4 signs, 4 plagues in the 4th seal, and we believe we're seeing all 4 of those. Peak deaths should come in 2026. Tribulation at some point in time, then the Great Tribulation, the final 3.5 years. And it is not signless, people. It is signed. You're waiting via these signs for Jesus to return, Yeshua. And you need clean garments. You can't be naked. He's coming back, some fall festival. It's a wedding. Get yourself ready to go because it's going to be huge. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you. God bless.